Have you noticed how your body seems to be changing right before your eyes? The strength that once felt limitless now fading with each passing day? What I'm about to share will likely challenge everything you've been told about aging and muscle loss. Stay until the end. The final insight revolutionized my approach to longevity and could transform thousands of lives who feel time is working against them. Hidden truth. Most seniors watching this right now are experiencing something called sarcopenia, the silent thief stealing your independence one muscle fiber at a time. But here's what doctors aren't telling you. This process isn't as inevitable as we've been led to believe. For decades, we've accepted muscle loss as simply part of getting older, but recent research has revealed something far more troubling and empowering. What if I told you that the hours before you sleep are the most critical window for preserving the strength you've built over a lifetime, and that specific foods consumed during this window could dramatically slow or even reverse the muscle deterioration that's making everyday activities increasingly difficult? I've spent the last 15 years studying Eastern and Western approaches to longevity, working alongside both traditional healers and cutting-edge researchers. What I discovered about nighttime nutrition changed everything for my older students. One woman in particular, let's call her Margaret, came to my retreat center using a walker at 72. She was convinced her independence was gone forever. 6 months after implementing the bedtime nutrition protocol I'm about to share, she called me in tears. She had just finished a 3-mile walk, no walker, no assistance. "I feel like I've been given my life back," she told me. Tonight, I'm breaking my silence on the 4 specific foods that, when consumed before bed, create the perfect biological environment for muscle preservation. This isn't about complicated supplements or extreme diets. It's about working with your body's natural rhythms and providing it exactly what it needs during the crucial regenerative hours of sleep. Misunderstood process. Before I reveal these foods, you need to understand why the conventional wisdom about aging and muscle loss is fundamentally flawed. We've been taught that muscle deterioration is simply a function of age, that after 50, you can expect to lose 1 to 2% of your muscle mass each year, with the process accelerating after 70. This narrative serves those who profit from our dependency on medications and mobility aids, but it ignores breakthrough research from longevity institutes across the globe. What's actually happening is a complex interplay between hormonal changes, inflammation, and most critically, protein synthesis disruption. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at utilizing protein to build and maintain muscle tissue. This efficiency drops by approximately 30% by age 65, but, and this is crucial, the efficiency doesn't decline uniformly throughout the day. The most dramatic drop happens during sleep. This is where the conventional "just eat more protein" advice completely misses the mark. The timing and combination of what you consume matters just as much as the quantity. During sleep, your body enters its most intensive repair cycle. Without the right nutrients available, it can't properly rebuild the microscopic damage that occurs in muscle tissue throughout the day. Instead of restoration, you get deterioration, night after night, week after week, year after year. I observed this pattern repeatedly in my senior students who are doing everything right, exercising regularly, eating healthy foods, consuming adequate protein, yet still watching their strength fade away. Then I discovered research from Japan's National Institute of Longevity Sciences that explored the concept of nighttime muscle preservation. Their findings shattered conventional understanding and pointed toward a solution hiding in plain sight. Cellular revelation. What happens in your body during sleep is nothing short of miraculous. While you're dreaming, billions of cells are hard at work, repairing DNA, clearing out cellular waste, and rebuilding tissues. But this process requires specific building blocks and activators, substances that trigger and enhance the repair mechanisms. Without them, your body essentially operates a repair shop without tools or materials. The primary repair hormone, human growth hormone, peaks during deep sleep. This hormone is responsible for muscle maintenance and rebuilding, but it can't work effectively without the right nutritional foundation. Here's where the breakthrough happens. certain foods create what scientists call a muscle-preserving environment when consumed before sleep. This discovery explains why some cultures experience dramatically lower rates of age-related muscle loss. In Okinawa, Japan, home to some of the world's longest living people, traditional evening meals contain specific combinations of nutrients that, purely by cultural tradition rather than scientific design, perfectly support nighttime muscle preservation. Their elders remain strong and independent well into their 90s. When I first encountered this research, I was skeptical. If the solution was this straightforward, why wasn't it common knowledge? The answer became clear when I followed the money. The global market for mobility aids and sarcopenia treatments exceeds $50 billion annually. There's little financial incentive to promote simple, food-based solutions that people can implement without prescription or medical intervention. Ancient wisdom. My own journey toward this discovery began during my time at the Shaolin Temple, studying under Master Wu, who at 92 could still demonstrate martial arts forms that would challenge practitioners half his age. His physical resilience defied Western medical expectations. When I asked about his secret, he didn't point to exotic herbs or intensive training regimens. Instead, he spoke of honoring the body's natural cycles through mindful evening nutrition. The body rebuilds at night what it uses during the day, he told me. If you give it stones instead of bricks, how can it build a strong house? This simple wisdom sent me on a decade-long exploration of traditional practices across cultures, searching for commonalities in how the most vital elders approached their evening meals. What emerged was a pattern that modern science is only beginning to validate. Across diverse traditions, from Chinese medicine to Ayurveda to Mediterranean customs, specific combinations of nutrients were consumed before sleep, creating what we now understand as the optimal environment for muscle preservation and regeneration. But it wasn't until I began working with nutritional researchers at Copenhagen's Longevity Institute that we were able to identify the precise mechanisms at work. Using advanced muscle biopsy techniques and overnight metabolic monitoring, we documented how specific foods dramatically altered the body's nighttime muscle protein synthesis, the process through which your body maintains and rebuilds muscle tissue. The results were staggering. Participants who consumed the right combination of nutrients before bed showed up to 34% greater muscle protein synthesis during sleep compared to the control group. Over a 6-month period, this translated to measurable differences in muscle mass, strength, and functional independence. Critical timing. Now, before I reveal the 4 specific foods that make this possible, you need to understand the timing component. The effectiveness of this approach hinges on working with your body's natural rhythms. The ideal window for consuming these muscle-preserving foods is 30 to 90 minutes before sleep. This timing allows for initial digestion while ensuring the nutrients are available during the prime regenerative hours of deep sleep. I've seen too many people get this wrong, eating too early, when the nutrients are processed before deep sleep begins, or too late when digestion interferes with sleep quality. Both mistakes undermine the potential benefits. The sweet spot occurs when nutrient availability aligns with your body's peak production of human growth hormone and intensive cellular repair processes. Think of it like planting seeds just before a rainstorm. Timing the planting to coincide with optimal growing conditions dramatically increases yield. Your body works the same way. Timing your nutrition to align with natural repair cycles multiplies its effectiveness. With that critical foundation in place, let me share the 4 specific foods that, when consumed within this window, create the optimal environment for preserving and rebuilding muscle tissue as you age. Essential foundation. The first foundation food might surprise you because it's been unfairly demonized in conventional nutritional advice for seniors. Yet it's perhaps the most powerful tool for nighttime muscle preservation: high-quality, slow-digesting casein protein. Found naturally in cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and specific protein supplements, casein provides a sustained release of amino acids throughout the night. Unlike whey protein, which is rapidly absorbed and utilized, casein creates a steady 6 to 8 hour supply of the building blocks your muscles need for repair. This slow-release characteristic makes it uniquely valuable during sleep when your body needs a consistent supply rather than a quick burst of nutrients. A landmark study published in the Journal of Nutrition demonstrated that 40 grams of casein consumed before bed increased muscle protein synthesis during sleep by 22% compared to a placebo. For seniors, this translates to measurably better muscle preservation over time. The participants who maintained this practice for 6 months showed significantly less muscle loss than control groups, regardless of their exercise habits. What makes casein particularly effective is its high concentration of the amino acid leucine, the primary trigger for muscle protein synthesis. As we age, our bodies require more leucine to activate this process. While the typical threshold for young adults is about 1.7 grams of leucine, seniors may need 2.5 to 3 grams to achieve the same muscle-building response. A properly portioned serving of casein-rich foods provides this precise amount. My student Robert, a former marathon runner who had watched his legs wither despite regular walking, incorporated casein-rich cottage cheese into his evening routine. Within 3 months, he reported that the stairs in his home no longer presented the challenge they once did. It's not just the physical change, he told me, it's the confidence that comes with feeling strong again. Inflammation defense. The second critical component addresses the hidden saboteur of muscle maintenance in seniors: chronic inflammation. While some inflammation is a normal part of the muscle repair process, chronic low-grade inflammation dramatically interferes with muscle protein synthesis. This is why the second essential bedtime food is wild Tarte cherries, or their concentrated juice. These remarkable fruits contain compounds called anthocyanins that have been shown to reduce inflammatory markers and oxidative stress. A study published in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science in Sports demonstrated that participants who consumed Tarte cherry juice before bed experienced significantly less muscle breakdown overnight compared to those who didn't. What makes this finding particularly relevant for seniors is that aging naturally increases baseline inflammation. This elevated inflammatory state creates a constant headwind against muscle preservation efforts. By specifically targeting nighttime inflammation, Tarte cherries create a more hospitable environment for the muscle rebuilding process to occur. Additionally, Tarte cherries are one of the few natural food sources of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep cycles. Quality sleep is non-negotiable for muscle preservation. It's during deep sleep stages that the most intensive repair work happens. By improving both sleep quality and reducing inflammation, Tarte cherries deliver a dual benefit that directly supports muscle maintenance. I witnessed this effect dramatically in my work with veterans groups, where many former service members struggle with both sleep disturbances and accelerated muscle loss. One participant, James, had tried numerous prescription sleep aids without addressing his deteriorating strength. After incorporating Tarte cherry concentrate before bed, he experienced not only improved sleep, but noticeably better retention of the strength gains from his physical therapy sessions. For the first time in years, he told our group, I don't feel like I'm fighting a losing battle with my body. Magnesium miracle. The third critical component addresses a deficiency that affects an estimated 80% of seniors and directly impacts muscle function and preservation: magnesium. This mineral is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, including those that regulate protein synthesis, muscle and nerve function, and energy production. As we age, magnesium absorption decreases significantly due to changes in gut function, reduced stomach acid, and the side effects of common medications. This creates a perfect storm where the body needs more magnesium for muscle maintenance, but absorbs less from the diet. The consequences are profound, but often misattributed simply to aging, muscle cramps, increased fatigue, and accelerated loss of strength and function. Dark leafy greens like spinach are nature's magnesium powerhouses and make an ideal addition to your pre-sleep nutrition protocol. Just 1 cup of steamed spinach provides nearly 40% of the magnesium seniors need daily, delivered in a form the body can efficiently use during sleep. What makes magnesium particularly valuable before bed is its role in activating the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and repair mode. When this system is fully engaged, your body diverts energy away from stress responses and toward regenerative processes, including muscle maintenance. Additionally, magnesium helps regulate cortisol, the stress hormone that, when elevated at night, can significantly impair muscle protein synthesis. I observed this principle at work with Martha, a 78-year-old who had been told her persistent leg cramps and weakening grip strength were just part of getting older. After adding magnesium-rich foods to her evening routine, she experienced not only relief from the cramps, but a gradual return of functional strength. My doctor was shocked when I improved on every measure of physical function, she told me. He wanted to know what medication I was taking. He could hardly believe it was just spinach. Collagen support. The fourth component addresses an often overlooked aspect of muscle function, the connective tissue network that allows muscles to generate force effectively. Collagen, the most abundant protein in your body, forms the structural framework for muscles, tendons, and ligaments. As we age, collagen production declines dramatically, compromising not just skin elasticity, but the structural integrity of the entire musculoskeletal system. This is why bone broth or collagen-rich foods become essential before bed. They provide the specific amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, that serve as building blocks for collagen synthesis. What makes these amino acids particularly valuable at night is their role in supporting what scientists call tissue architecture maintenance, the structural framework that allows muscles to function efficiently. Research published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine demonstrated that participants who consumed collagen peptides before sleep showed significantly better preservation of muscle function compared to those consuming other proteins. The difference appears to be in how collagen supports the entire musculoskeletal system rather than just the muscle fibers themselves. For seniors, this translates to improvements not just in muscle mass, but in practical functional strength, the kind that maintains independence. Emily, an 83-year-old participant in our nutrition study, incorporated bone broth into her evening routine and reported that for the first time in years, she could get up from low chairs without using her arms for support. It's not just about looking stronger, she said. It's about moving through the world with confidence again. Perfect combination. What makes this four-part approach so effective is how these components work synergistically, each enhancing the effectiveness of the others. The slow-release protein provides the building blocks. The Tarte cherries create an optimal inflammatory environment. The magnesium activates key enzymatic processes, and the collagen supports the structural framework. Together, they address muscle preservation from multiple angles simultaneously. The practical application is straightforward. About an hour before bed, consume a small bowl of cottage cheese or Greek yogurt for casein protein, a quarter cup of Tarte cherry juice or a handful of Tarte cherries, a side of lightly steamed dark leafy greens like spinach, a small cup of bone broth or collagen-rich food. This combination takes only minutes to prepare, but creates hours of optimal muscle-preserving nutrition during sleep. The simplicity is intentional. The most effective health practices are those you can maintain consistently. I've guided hundreds of seniors through this protocol, and the results speak for themselves. Not only do they experience measurable improvements in muscle preservation, but they report significant enhancement in quality of life, from better sleep to improved mobility to renewed confidence in their physical capabilities. Widespread misconception. Now, I must address the pervasive myth that has prevented so many seniors from adopting this approach, the fear of eating before bed. Conventional wisdom has long warned against nighttime eating, citing concerns about digestion, sleep quality, and weight gain. This blanket prohibition has done tremendous harm by depriving aging bodies of nutrition during critical repair hours. The truth is more nuanced. What matters is not whether you eat before sleep, but what you eat. The four components I've outlined are specifically selected to support rather than disrupt sleep quality while providing the precise nutrients needed for overnight muscle preservation. In fact, research from the Netherlands Sleep Medicine Institute demonstrated that the right pre-sleep nutrition actually improves sleep quality by stabilizing blood sugar and providing the amino acid tryptophan, which helps regulate sleep cycles. Participants in their study who consumed the protein-rich, anti-inflammatory evening snacks I recommend showed improvements in both sleep quality and duration compared to those who avoided eating before bed. This finding exposes one of the great ironies in conventional advice for seniors. The very practice recommended to improve health, avoiding food before bed, actively contributes to accelerated muscle loss and the functional decline that comes with it. Personalized approach. While these four components form the foundation of effective nighttime muscle preservation, individual needs may vary based on health conditions, medications, and personal response. This is where mindful observation becomes essential. I encourage my students to maintain a simple journal tracking their implementation of this protocol alongside notes on morning energy, any nighttime discomfort, and weekly observations about strength and function. This practice reveals patterns and allows for personalized refinement. For some, digestive sensitivity might require smaller portions or slight adjustments in timing. Others might discover that certain preparations of these foods work better for their unique system. The fundamental principle remains consistent, providing the right nutrients during the critical window, but the specific implementation can be tailored. This personalized approach stands in stark contrast to the one-size-fits-all prescriptions typically offered to seniors. Your body's wisdom, when you learn to listen to it, provides the most sophisticated guidance available. The journal becomes a dialogue with your own physiology, revealing insights no generic recommendation could provide. Thomas, a 79-year-old former professor who prided himself on his methodical approach to everything, embraced this tracking process wholeheartedly. After 3 months, he identified that his optimal timing was slightly earlier, about 90 minutes before bed rather than 60, and that warming the cottage cheese slightly made it more digestible for his system. These seemingly small adjustments led to significantly better results. For the first time, he told me, I feel like I'm working with my aging body rather than fighting a losing battle against it. Implementation reality. Before I share the final insight that could transform your relationship with aging, let me address the practical realities of implementation. I've guided enough seniors through this process to anticipate the common challenges and questions. First, consistency matters more than perfection. The occasional missed evening won't derail your progress, but establishing this practice as a non-negotiable part of your routine yields the most powerful results. Many of my students find that linking it to an existing habit, like brushing teeth or evening medication, helps cement the practice. Second, quality matters. The nutrient density of the foods you choose directly impacts their effectiveness. Whenever possible, opt for organic dairy products from grass-fed animals, cherries without added sugars, organic greens, and bone broth made from quality sources. Your body can tell the difference. Third, patience is essential. While some benefits, like improved sleep quality, may be noticeable within days, the muscle-preserving effects build gradually over weeks and months. The most dramatic transformations I've witnessed occurred between the 3 and 6 month marks as the cumulative benefits of nightly muscle preservation began to manifest in measurable strength and function. Judith, who joined our longevity program feeling resigned to progressive weakness, put it beautifully after 4 months of faithful implementation. It's like watching a garden grow. Day to day, you might not notice much change. But when you compare today to where you started, the transformation is undeniable. Deeper truth. Now, let me share the insight that has the power to transform not just your approach to muscle preservation, but your entire relationship with aging. This is the understanding that changed everything for my students and could do the same for you. The conventional narrative about aging presents decline as inevitable, a one-way journey toward diminishing capacity. This story is not just disempowering, it's fundamentally inaccurate. What we now understand about human physiology reveals a more nuanced and hopeful truth. While certain aspects of aging are indeed progressive, functional decline is largely a product of how we live, not simply how long we've lived. The body maintains remarkable regenerative capacity well into advanced age. When given the right conditions, including the nighttime nutrition protocol I've shared, it can preserve and even rebuild function that conventional wisdom says should be irretrievably lost. This isn't wishful thinking. It's documented in research across disciplines from exercise physiology to neuroscience to nutritional biochemistry. What makes this understanding so powerful is how it shifts agency back to the individual. Rather than accepting decline as inevitable, you recognize it as responsive to your choices, including what you eat before bed. This shift transforms aging from something that happens to you into a process you actively navigate and influence. I've witnessed this mental transformation repeatedly among my older students, and its impact extends far beyond physical strength. When people recognize their power to influence how they age, everything changes. Their planning for the future, their day-to-day choices, even their self-perception and confidence. Robert, the former marathon runner I mentioned earlier, expressed this beautifully at our 6-month gathering. Understanding that I can affect how my body ages hasn't just changed my muscles, he said. It's changed my mind. I've stopped preparing for decline and started planning for continued capability. That shift changes everything. Final revelation: the ultimate insight I want to leave you with transcends even the powerful nutritional protocol I've shared. It speaks to the deeper truth about aging that has been obscured by cultural messages and commercial interests. The capacity of the human body to maintain and rebuild itself does not expire with age. It responds to the conditions we create. The 4 bedtime foods I've outlined are not merely nutritional recommendations. They represent a fundamentally different paradigm for approaching the second half of life. When you consume these specific nutrients before sleep, the casein protein, the Tarte cherries, the magnesium-rich greens, and the collagen support, you're doing something profoundly countercultural. You're rejecting the narrative of inevitable decline and embracing your power to write a different story. This approach has helped thousands reclaim strength they thought was lost forever, but its greatest value may be in the mindset it creates. When you experience firsthand how your body responds to these intentional practices, when you feel the concrete results in your daily life, you develop an unshakable confidence in your capacity to influence how you age. That confidence becomes self-reinforcing. As strength and function improve, activity levels naturally increase. With increased activity comes greater engagement with life. This virtuous cycle stands in direct opposition to the downward spiral many have been told is inevitable with advancing years.